Now, perhaps you're familiar with the cross illustration, where there's people on one side, God on the other. I'm standing there, and my sin has separated me from God, right? Maybe you've seen that before. We're unable to reach God in our own strength. I first came across this when I was yet an unbeliever, but I was reading The Stranger on the Road to Emmaus. They use this illustration in that book. The second part is that Jesus died for our sin on the cross to make it possible for us to have fellowship with God. And the third part is that through faith in Jesus and his perfect sacrifice on the cross, we have fellowship with God. Now, this illustration is very helpful for us to understand who we are in our sin and separation from God, and that Jesus' death on the cross has made the way for us to have fellowship with God, as we were created to have. And again, this illustration was really impactful for me. It helped me to understand the gospel. Now, as the Spirit has been doing his sanctifying work, there are a few things that I would actually change with this illustration. Firstly, I'm dead. That's the first thing I would change. Ephesians 2 says, we were all dead in trespasses and sins. So it's not like I'm standing there on the edge just reaching out, trying to make my way to the other side. I'm not. In the flesh, I'm dead. I don't naturally seek God. The cross is there. Jesus has paid for our sins, but I'm not interested. And this was my life for my first 18 years. God has moved first. God does his work first. Not me, but him. He has to do a work of resurrection in awakening our spirit from the dead. He doesn't just wait on the other side of the chasm for us to figure it out. He knows we can't. So in love, he moves first. Then, in his irresistible grace, we are awakened, raised to life, regenerated, born again. This is what it means to be born again, by the presence and power of God. And because we have been raised to life, we are brought into fellowship with God. It is not God's plan for us to lower the bar of his holiness to something that we can attain. And it's not God's plan for us to deceive ourselves into inflating our own righteousness to God's level. The death of Jesus is God's plan for you. That you would no longer bear the burden of your own transgressions, but that by trusting in him, you would believe what he said as he hung on the cross, it is finished. That you would walk in freedom, not submitting ever again to a yoke of slavery. He has been raised from the dead and ever lives to redeem those who call on his name from the bondage of sin.